Welcome back, all of you. I'm so grateful and so happy to have you with me. You have no idea how much it means to me that you come and you spend some time with me and you listen to my videos. And if you like what you hear and you're not a subscriber, please feel free to subscribe so that you can receive the information that I am presenting on currently qhht each time I create a video. And if you feel like someone else that you know of would benefit from this information as well, then please feel free to pass on my video. I would be deeply grateful. So I just want to identify some things about qhht once again, even though it is a past life regression session for the client and also a between life session, and can be a future life session and a session that goes into collective consciousness, the oversoul, the higher self. You receive wisdom as a client. It's all of those things, but Dolores Cannon meant qhht to be a healing modality. And I think that she saw the value in that type of, or this type of hypnotherapy, because so many of her clients came out of her sessions emotionally and physically healed. And that is so much me. I just, if it's that, and if it has something to do with healing myself and other people, I'm in for it. I really am. So what I wanted to do, because I wanted to continue on life in the spirit, I wanted to talk about my maternal grandfather. Part of qhht is in between lives, and for me, it identifies the reality, the truth, and the fact that we do not just disintegrate when we leave this body. We don't go into soul and just poof, gone, okay? We go into soul, spirit. There is an actual area that we do go into in what we call the afterlife, but it is just the life between lives, because it doesn't end there. We are eternal beings, and that is exciting to me as well. The really cool thing about it is that if we make mistakes in this lifetime, we can reassess those mistakes and we can redo them again, only better in the next life. But taking that into consideration, do things the best way that you can, the best possible way you can, for how you know and understand life to be. Excuse me. And, if you learn your lessons now and you love, above all things, love, and be good at that. Be good at loving each other and be good at loving yourself. And to me, that is everything. You've gone far beyond the tip of the iceberg, okay? If you are really good in unconditional love, and you have a real grasp as to what that means and what that looks like, then you have really learned a great deal of your lesson. And if you kind of calibrate most of your life according to that, it becomes a lot easier. And of course, there are a lot of details in the mix and in between, but you catch that one and you got it. I mean, you really got a great deal of it. So, it's about life, and it's about learning, it's about loving, it's about getting along on the playground, and so much more than that. But even more so, heal yourself, because you owe it to yourself to heal in this lifetime, and you owe it to the people that are around you, because when you interact with others and you're not healed, it becomes very difficult for them as well. So it's something that we're all working on. No one on this planet is not working on it. I'm working on it. I hope that you are. And we all go through moments of, it's almost like heart-wrenching, soul-wrenching things in our lives. Which brings me to the time when my daughter was in the hospital and she was going through a very difficult time. Her body was basically shutting down. And this brings me to what I want to talk about regarding my grandfather. And I have not really made it a secret. I've been very open with the reality that I've been able to see in spirit, hear in spirit. And you know what? It may seem like a lot of woo-woo stuff to a lot of people, but to me, who it's a reality, to me, who has seen evidence of life after life, it is a definite reality. I'm a sensitive, I'm an empath. I'm someone who is very spiritually awake, very in tuned energetically. I can hear, through my mind, through energy. I hear it into my body. And when energy is coursing through my body, believe me, it's a fun deal. It is really a fun deal. So my maternal grandfather had ALS, or other words, a Lou Gehrig's disease, which is not really an easy thing to maneuver. It is a very difficult thing to maneuver when you are diagnosed with ALS. You're going through some symptoms that generally progress very quickly. And it can hit various types of your body, either the upper part of your body or the lower part of your body, or maybe one side and then the other. So in other words, you might have weakness in a leg and an arm on this side, and then end up with the other side kind of corresponding. So it could be any quarter of your body. So upper half, lower half, or side to side, but eventually it will basically send you into the afterlife. It is not an easy thing to get over. There is no cure. There are some things that can be done to keep a person more comfortable, much more now than when he was here on the planet, but it's not an easy disease to get through. So he passed away at a very early age, and I was very young, but I was old enough and aware enough to really know basically what was going on and basically what he was about. He was a very loving human being. He was a very tall person. When he walked into the room, you knew he was present. He had a very genuine, beautiful heart. I could not hear enough beautiful things about him because I was so young, and yet I was awake. I did pick up on that beautiful spirit and soul that he did carry with him in his body. And I know that many other people really picked up on it as well. An amazing soul, but it wasn't like I thought about him all of the time because I was young. Life goes on. We get distracted by a lot of different things. Very aware of the family I do have in spirit, and my guidance that I have in spirit, and of course my master Jesus, who leads me every single day of my life. But he became very pronounced at the time that my daughter was going through leaving her body and leaving this life. Very, very difficult thing to watch or know about. I live in Texas. She lived in California. We were at a great distance, so I was depending on family to give me information as they saw it. I was depending on nurses to bring me information. I was making decisions for her every single day. And, it becomes physically, mentally, and emotionally draining when you begin to make decisions for your loved one, your child, when they're in the hospital and you know that every organ is beginning to shut down. And I was laying in my bed one day, and it was in the morning, and I was thinking about how the afternoon was going to play out. And it was still fairly early on before she actually left her body. She could have left her body at that time. I wouldn't have, completely known. But sometimes a spirit, a soul will kind of hover around, even though, you know, their body is technically still alive, but they could be there and present. So, you know, that to me was an unknown, but I was laying there and thinking about her, basically talking to her in spirit, and being at a distance, having the frustration of flights being canceled when I knew I needed to be on a flight to get to California, going back and forth a couple of times. And, you know, it becomes very wearing. It was wearing on my family because they did have to carry a great deal of it in person. So, you know, that's a real hard thing to go through and to watch. And I've been told that they're glad that I wasn't there to watch all of that, because it would have been very hard on me, much harder than it is now. So all of a sudden, while I was lying in bed, I was just kind of propped up with pillows. I was talking to my daughter, Christina, and all of a sudden I felt this surge of energy going from the bottom of my toes up my feet and all the way through my head. And I felt like this chill, or this almost presence that hovered over me, and it almost felt like she was there. But I didn't feel like her heart was there. It's like I was confused. And I glanced over to the end of my bed, and I was kind of just thinking. And in that moment, the appearance, and I'm going to try to describe this the best way that I possibly can, the image of my grandfather appeared, and he was sitting at the side of the bed, at the end of the bed. And it was kind of a translucent type of an image. And I blinked a little bit, because when those things happen, I want to make sure, am I seeing this? Am I imagining this? And it was really no imagination. He was appearing to me, and this was a real surprise, because like I said, I didn't think of him really often. And so he had kind of a concerned look on his face. He was concerned for me as his granddaughter, and he talked to me, but he didn't move his lips. I'm trying to describe this, it's just really hard. He was not really moving his lips, but he was present. It's like I saw the image moving. There was life there in the image. And when he spoke to me, it was that vibrational speaking that I could hear in my mind, that I can hear in my higher mind, that I can feel and hear inside of my body like an echo. And what he told me is, he said, you are strong enough for this. I am going to be here for you. You can come to me anytime. You have a lot of support in the spirit realm. A lot of souls are around you and your family, and you are strong enough, Mama, for this. You can get through this. You've been through many other things. And I thought to myself, there is no way. I just can't. I can't even bear the thought. It wasn't even determined yet that she would not make it. We still were very hopeful that there was going to be a surgery, an operation, a way that she could make it through. But in that stage, still very early on, it's like I knew what he was trying to tell me. He didn't say your daughter is going to leave her body, or has left her body, or is around you. He just said, you're going to get through this. You're a strong human being. Look at what you've come through. And anytime you need anything, I will be with you. And whenever I hear those words, I will be with you, especially with you always, I know that there is an eternal statement in that. That's the statement, the key statement that Jesus gave to me a long time ago when I was about 23 years old, something like that. And that's a whole other story. I'm not going to go there right now. But I'm telling this story because whatever you might think, whatever you might feel, about what I've just told you. You might think it's totally fine. You might be confused. You might think, wow, boy, has she gone off the deep end. I don't know. Whatever you think, that's what you think. But I am this secure in who I am and why I'm here, and the evidence that I've received over basically a lifetime of just being who I am, that I can make these statements. And I knew very early on, I didn't pass on this information to anybody or my family. I didn't want to discourage anyone. I really wasn't sure completely how it was going to play out, but I had an idea. And I knew I was going to have to be very strong through all of it. And I believe I portrayed that strength during the time that we had to go through her burial and the funeral ceremony and all of those things after she passed. But I felt my weakness come through afterwards, during the time that everyone else has dispersed, gone on with their life, and I became the grieving mom. And I didn't feel so strong. And there were times I called on my grandfather. There were times I called on my family in spirit. There were times I called on her, my daughter Christina, and I didn't feel her in the beginning. There were times I called on my master, on my higher self. Anything that I could possibly call on, I did, because I felt like the brokenness of my heart just wasn't going to heal. I felt like I was falling completely apart. And, that's basically how it is. We fall apart during tragedies and difficult moments in our lives in order to find ourselves again and to build ourselves back up. And hopefully we find our way to build ourselves. And I really do believe that qhht is a big player in how I am building myself back up. And, just reading Dolores's books has helped me tremendously, plus my spiritual gifts and a lot of the things that I know of and have experienced through my life, and just knowing who I am. So just to, kind of show you how the afterlife can come and intervene in your life and help you. And I'm not going to say that's going to happen per se for you, but I want to let you know I am this secure that there is life after this life. It takes the burn and the sting out of knowing that someone that you love has left their body. The sadness, yes, is there. The grieving, yes, is there. But the sting is gone. As has been betrayed during the crucifixion and the resurrection and the ascension of Jesus, the sting of death is gone, because we have this knowledge now that there is life that goes on after this life. I want that to be an encouragement for you, especially if you have gone through the loss of a loved one and it's been especially hard for you. Please know that there is help for you, that you may be crushed in your spirit, but it doesn't last forever. You will always grieve your loved ones and feel sad for them not being present with you. But it will become easier, you will become stronger, and your life will go on. And when you feel like you need help, reach out for those who have been where you are and where you're finding yourself. And also reach out for those who are in spirit, who are waiting to just help you anytime, any place, any moment, in any way they can. I just want to say thank you once again for listening to my story and hearing a little bit more about qhht. And I just want to end this video as I always do. I'm loving you from here. Many blessings to you. Namaste. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.